we're asked to find out what inverse cotangent of 0 is. And we don't know what it is, so we could say we're trying to solve for y or x or whatever letter you want, whatever variable. So our goal is to find out what y is. And we can rewrite this in a form that might be a little bit more comfortable by evaluating cotangent of both sides, because cotangent is the inverse of arccot, right? So that'll at least get rid of this idea of inverse cotangent and make it a little simpler. So that gives us 0 equals cotangent of y. Okay, and so now this is something that's hopefully a little bit more familiar. We're trying to figure out what the angle y is, right? Because anything inside the parentheses next to a trig function, that's an angle that we're trying to solve for. So we got to figure out what angle y is to make the cotangent ratio equal 0. And one way to handle these problems is to remember that tangent is sine over cosine. And since cotangent is just the reciprocal, it's cosine y over sine y. Okay. So this is the same problem, just rewritten a little bit. And in order for this ratio to equal 0, we got to make sure that sine is not 0, or else we have a divide by 0 problem. We want cosine to be 0. And if you're trying to figure out what it would take to make cosine, what angle would make cosine or sine be 0, remember in the unit circle, cosine represents the x coordinates and sine represents the y coordinates. Okay, so an angle of 0 degrees is right here in the unit circle. So it's 1 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis. So in other words, an angle of 0 degrees, the cosine ratio is 1. The sine ratio is 0. Okay, but we're looking to have 0 in the numerator, so let's keep going. If we keep rotating, here's another place where we're going to get a 0. This is at 0, 1. And the 1 again is because we're in the unit circle. That's our radius, right? Unit circle is just a regular old circle with a radius of 1. So that means for a 90-degree angle, cosine is 0 and sine is 1. That's what we're looking for. Y has to equal 90 degrees. That way we get cosine of 90 is 0, sine of 90 is 1. 0 divided by 1 equals 0. That gives us a true statement. Or if you want it in radians, divide by 180 and stick a pi in there.